PFF TV, and in an era where running backs are being devalued, we have brought here Eric Eager, the big brain here at PFF TV, to help us understand how valuable running backs still are. Not how spectacular they may be, not how stylistic they may be, but this is in terms of value, Eric. Help us to understand. How do you have them ranked?
Yeah, so right now, last season, we would have Alvin Kamara first, Christian McCaffrey second, and then a little bit of a gap before you see Saquon Barkley, Tariq Cohen, James White. One common theme among all these backs is that they're very good not only after contact, but also catching the football.
So we always say that third down is money down. Yep. And for the running backs that can really still influence the offense, say as a third down player, catching the ball out of the backfield, and maybe we ought to start to rethink how we view running backs. Yeah, we know they all have to be great runners, but they also have to be great receivers.
Yeah, the running back doesn't really get to control necessarily how good the blocking is or even his offense's, what play call they have or how many men are in the box. So what you really want to look at is what can a runner control? And a runner can control how good he is at catching the ball, what he does after he catches the ball, and, in both the running and the passing game, how good he is after contact.
So, and also yards after the catch, as you just said, who would be, let's say, number one? Because I'm just going to, when we talk about those components, what comes to mind for me is someone like an Alvin Kamara.
Yep.
Right or wrong, am I?
Alvin Kamara is almost 9 yards a catch, right? So he's going to be extremely valuable because a lot of times running backs' receiving value gets stunted by the fact that they're catching the ball near the line of scrimmage. Alvin Kamara is 9 yards a catch, 8 yards after the catch. One of the names that was surprising in that group is Tariq Cohen, right? But he's averaging 10 yards a catch for the Bears, but only about 7.5 after the catch, which means he's going downfield. He's a receiver in many of those cases for the Bears offense. So it is very much yards after the catch or being able to be a downfield threat in terms of yards in the air, which Cohen is.
So who would be at the top of the list right now?
I would say going into next year, you're looking at McCaffrey, right? He's the running back for Carolina, who's probably going to get the majority of their carries. Kamara, with Mark Ingram gone, I think is going to be the bell cow in New Orleans. But they also got Latavius Murray to take some weight off of him, and he had a really good month of September last year before Ingram came back and took a lot of his carries. I think if the Saints are smart, they're going to lean off of him a little bit so that he's dynamite down the stretch as he was in 17.
107 receptions for Christian McCaffrey last year. He's added some bulk to that small physique. Remember, this is a guy when he came into the NFL, we didn't think he could be an excellent inside runner. Not only has he done that, he's become really the prototypical back of what you really want in the National Football League. And when I think about running backs as well, I think about who are the guys who can convert third downs into first down. Whether you're running the football and whether you're getting yards after you're breaking tackles, or whether you're catching the ball and creating yards after contact. And so Christian McCaffrey certainly fits within that picture. Who's number 2 on the list just behind Christian?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of yards after the catch, you're looking at Saquon Barkley at 8.6 yards after the catch. But the interesting thing with him is he's not necessarily generating as much value for the Giants because his average catch was behind the line of scrimmage. And you saw that with that offense really struggle pushing the ball downfield. They'll probably struggle again this year without Odell Beckham. But Barkley, in terms of breaking tackles, in terms of, making something out of nothing, he was one of, if not the best running backs a season ago.
Led all running backs with over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Yep. He is the only guy that Pro Football Focus gave a grade of 80 or higher, both as a runner and as a receiver. So why aren't we talking about Saquon Barkley as the, quote, prototypical rusher, receiver, running back?
Yeah, it's because, he's struggling before contact. He's only averaging about 2.5, 2 and 2/3 yards before contact. That offensive line is not necessarily giving him as many opportunities. And then the other thing is that offense isn't being successful on first down with throwing the football, or they're not generating a ton of offense on third down with Eli Manning and things like that. Whereas those other offenses, Carolina was really good at the beginning of the season. New Orleans, obviously, Chicago, all efficient offenses. Those efficient offenses give running backs a lot of varied opportunities to make plays. Barkley they asked Barkley to do a lot, but it was in an offense that really struggled.
So while he's great, the value there maybe isn't the same as the Alvin Kamaras or the Christian McCaffrey. What about Melvin Gordon? Because when I watch him play, I don't necessarily think of him as a really good receiving running back, but he's excellent catching the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah, absolutely, and he does a pretty good job at, it depends upon the year, but he sort of shows that yards per carry is kind of this varying stat. Last year he was above 5, but years before he was below 4. It really does depend upon the opportunities you get, and then as a receiver he is very good, not only catching the football, but making plays after it. I think that Los Angeles Chargers offense, it can break your back with so many different talents with Hunter Henry coming back this year, Keenan Allen, and then you throw the ball to Gordon a little bit, and he's a really electric player there.
If I was going to project in 2019, I'm going to throw out a name, and I want you to tell me, based on your matrix, how he might measure up. Because in 2017, Kareem Hunt led the league in rushing as a rookie.
Yep.
And then last year, he showed us that he can also catch the ball, not just out of the backfield, lined up in the slot. He moves the needle. He scored, 14 touchdowns in 11 games for the Chiefs last year. He's going to be in an offense that I think is going to be a high-powered one in Cleveland. How valuable is a Kareem Hunt, who necessarily didn't come into the league with us thinking that he was this versatile?
Yeah, he was in sort of the top 10, top 12 last year in wins above replacement, despite the fact that he only played, in about 2/3 of the season. He's one of those guys, as you said, oftentimes you can break a defense's back by throwing the ball deep to the running back. We saw that against New England, but the thing that we loved about him coming out of Toledo and what became true in the NFL is he breaks tackles. He gets yards after the after contact. So, while he doesn't get to play for the first half of the year, I think the Browns got a real steal with him, provided he can stay healthy and stay on the field and stay out of trouble.
Everybody's talking about Odell Beckham Jr. They're talking about Jarvis Landry. They're talking about Baker Mayfield. Should we be talking about Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the same backfield in Cleveland?
Yeah, Nick Chubb was great last year. Even, again, we always talk about yards after contact again, but Chubb was over 4.5 yards after contact. He was, I believe our, first or second highest graded running back, not necessarily as valuable because of lack of volume, but he's another, player. That offense, David Njoku out of Miami as well as a tight end, that's going to be a good offense, if everybody stays healthy and that offensive line holds up.
See, everyone wants to devalue the running backs. I'm not going to let it happen. Eric is here to help me to understand that they're still valuable. We just got to start looking at these guys in a different way. Thanks for joining us here on Pro Football Focus TV.